Now the election back and I'll die away. In short, this is what I have to say. Let us forget spites and grudges and concentrate. Come, let us sit and try to relate. Because now, more than ever, we must show discipline, tolerance, and production to build a strong and better nation. I say that is the main foundation. So come, let us work hand in hand, because this is our land. Come, my brother, come, my sister, and let us build a nation together.
And that is the clarion call. Come, my brother, come, my sister, let us build a nation together. We could do it together, and it's not too late. I want to welcome you to this very important segment in the program, because remember, the name of the program is the Dynamic Hour, 1 hour of unfiltered examination around the real issues that we are confronted by here in our country. And what we do is use radio and the internet to get that message to you. Remember, we use social media and we use radio to bring the program, to carry the program. And you would have firstly the Pastor Davis John, coming on. Then Dr. Linton Andrews will follow on some days with Pet Talk. And then I will lay the foundation for conversation. So I tend to bring in the folks on Facebook and YouTube after Pastor Davis John, after Dr. Linton Andrews, because they are more for a local audience. So they speak specifically to the folks who are listening on radio. And I don't want to play any music that could cause the broadcast to be blocked, more or less, or prevented from uploading. So they have been doing that for quite a number of years. So this segment is where I speak, laying the foundation for meaningful engagement. So those who are online and you normally kind of looking since 8 a.m., you start looking for me, I would come in about 10 past, 15 past, 12 past, between 10 and 15 minutes into the programming, right? So that is something that you need to know. I want to thank the folks who continue to share the program, who continue to spread the news about the program, because every time we do our program, we get more viewership and more listenership than all the other programs in Grenada. And that is significant, but it cannot happen without your assistance. So you have been working consistently so to get more and more people to discover this program and to know about it throughout radio, social media, just name it. And I thank you. In fact, yesterday, we have about 4 to 5 talk show programs on radio / social media in Grenada every Sunday. So first, you have the Bob Report. Then you have the NDC Heartbeat program. Then you have Carl Keaton and Kennedy Bulldog up north on Andrew Donald Station. And then you have Kem Jones, your humble servant, on Vibes FM and on social media, Facebook and YouTube. So Carl Keaton and Kennedy Bulldog, that program comes on radio and YouTube, right? But the radio doesn't have any big set of reach. That particular radio station is more up north. 1 or 2 people might tune in, but it's not any. In fact, If you ask people around if they know about that radio station, they will tell you no. So they also do YouTube. But where you get raw data, where you get actual numbers, is YouTube and Facebook, social media. So yesterday, the Kellen Bob uh, or the Bob Report, he did his program, right? Peter Wickham was on, my good partner, William Joseph was on, and a banker earlier, because I normally follow all the programs. And that program saw just about 2,900 or so people, under 3,000 viewers. So under 3,000 people viewed that program yesterday, as of this morning, right? When I checked this morning. Then you had the Heartbeat program, the NDC Heartbeat program with my good friend Terry Forrester, Terrence, right? Terry Forrester. The NDC Heartbeat program had uh, Dr. Dr. Alexander, right? She was on, and then Colin Gilchrist was on with minimum wage, and that program saw 3,800 people viewing online. And yes, it's carried on radio, on Vibes FM and WeFM, but it's really a dead time when the program is on because people in church, people out and about, right? But they got under 4,000 people viewing. Carl Caton and Kennedy Bulldog or Bulldog, they stream on YouTube, not on Facebook, YouTube, and they had 2,100 or so people. So under 2,200 people viewed that program, but it's also carried on radio, but you cannot really get the full number of people who listen on radio. Same thing for the Heartbeat program on radio, right? So, and then your humble servant, we had our program yesterday from 1 to 2. That's the Dynamic Hour. And we had a whopping 17,000 people viewing only on Facebook. We are on YouTube, but I did not, because we just started off on YouTube, right? So I did not even factor in YouTube if we have a couple hundred people there viewing and so on. But on Facebook alone, we had about 17,100 people viewing. So if you go now and you check, you will see 17,000 people. 17K, that's 17,000, right? But I can see the exact amount of people who actually viewed the program. So it's almost 17,100, and that will climb to about 20,000 between today and tomorrow. So, right, that number will go up because more and more people are tuning in to the Dynamic Hour and the Hub to hear Kim Jones, to hear what we have to say. And mind you, we are also on radio. We're also on Vibes 101.3 FM, Vibes 106.3 FM, and Wild 106.3 FM in New York on radio itself. So I am not calculating that. But I'm only saying Facebook and YouTube, you can get raw numbers there. And it speaks volumes as to the popularity of our program. So, as again, let me repeat, the Kellen Bob Report, that is the first program that comes on a Sunday, right? From, I can't even remember the time. I think from 10 to 12, 2 hours, I think so. That had under 3,000 viewers, the people who viewed that program, 2,900 people. Then the Heartbeat NDC program, 3,800 people, under 4,000. Then Carl Caton and Kennedy Bulldog up north, they push a kind of NNP flavored program and so on. In fact, yesterday the pressure was so much they had to bring in Andrew Donald to help them, right? It's amazing. They had about 2,100 people on the YouTube channel. But the Dynamic Hour, Vision Information Services, we had 17,100 people viewing, following, listening that program and listening for a lengthy period of time, not just 30 seconds or a minute or two. They were consistently there, going and listen and follow the program. And that is big. But we must let people know this is the most listened to program in Grenada. They want to hear what Kim Jones has to say. So while they have all kind of guests on all the other programs, people rely on Kim Jones and the Dynamic Hour or the Hub to get their information. And I am not saying this because I want ads. This program is funded by ordinary people just like you who want what we are doing to continue, and they give every month something to keep it going. And I am eternally grateful to you. May the 15th, in just under a month, I will be celebrating 9 years on radio, 9 years on, well, doing this, radio, social media. And my intention is to give thanks. So I intend to just cook some food, right? And drinks. And I will depend on you, the listeners, wherever you are, to give towards this, to just give thanks, give back, give thanks. Because remember, I told you when we celebrating the decade, the 10 years, it will be a grand affair. In fact, we will have about 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, in fact, 10 major activities throughout the year. So after May the 15th, this coming May the 15th, so between May the 15th and the next May the 15th, we will have a number of major activities leading up to that decade, 10 years of service to the people of Grenada, Carriacou, and PT Martinique. All right? So again, saying I intend to ask you to give because I intend to cook some food, right? What do you think about that? Food, mutton, goat, chicken, and people can come and eat and drink. And right here where I live, right, couple tents. So I will tell you what it entails. That's for the weekend of the 15th of May. Giving thanks and appreciation. And if it's not for you, I will not be here. There are people who give the little that they have to keep this going because they understand how important this program is to keep our democracy intact and to keep our government where they're supposed to be. Remember, we didn't just start off like this, It was tough to get here. It was not, no. It was not just smooth sailing. It was tough. I look back for a moment at where I came from, where I started, right? And that March and in 2014, I was there in the field, in the ground, and then we had a number of other protests and demonstrations and march and, the program. We do all kind of outreach and it was not easy, right? I remember where I started from. And it took you, the viewers, the listeners, to bring this program where it is today. It took you. While a lot of people doubted and attacked me, oh man, they say all kind of stuff. Today, the two programs that I do, they are the two biggest programs in Grenada. And some people cannot deal with that reality. But I will forever talk about it because sometimes we need to blow our own trumpet too, and let people know what's going down. But I thank you for making it big. You brought this program to where it is. So on the 15th of May, I will mark 9 years of service, volunteering my time and effort. And I intend to, give back through you giving and assisting in cooking and, little drinks and so on. We have a wonderful time. giving thanks. Giving thanks. That is important. All right? Great. Folks, I want to get into the meat of the conversation for this morning. All right? I want to start off by commending the NDC administration for fulfilling a big promise of the bi-monthly salary on the 13th. In fact, they said on the 14th, you will start seeing money in your account. Well, on the 13th, a lot of people reported that the money was already there. And I say to friends and foes, if you don't want to collect your money on the 15th of the month, then just leave it in the bank and go in the bank or your credit union on the 30th. It is simple like that. If you don't want it on the 15th, just leave it there. Leave it there. Ignore the fact that it's there. But if you want it on the 15th, it comes into your account on the 15th or a little before, and you can utilize it. It is simple like that. So all the hullabaloo, all the talk and so on, it's not logical in my world. I'm saying if you want it on the 15th, come on. Just do what you got to do, right? Yeah, simple like that. Take out the money or utilize some. If you want it on month end, as usual, just go there month end and collect your money. All right? Sandra Moraine, Kim, I will be there to celebrate with you. You're welcome. All right? You're welcome to do so. So let me know.
Welcome to the Tales of NNP, a video series where we will be exploring the fascinating life of Keith Mitchell. Today we will look at a promise he made 28 years ago to implement bi-monthly payments, an initiative the NDC accomplished, which he could not. The year is 1995 and the young Keith Mitchell has his eyes set on victory. Young Keith is ambitious and will say anything to get into power.
The NNP has been looking at the problem of the economy here. You see, the NNP is a thinking party. And what we realize is this. Every month, a man gets a salary. By the time in the middle of the month, the man broke completely. And because of his being broke, the economy in several ways stagnates for that period. The NNP, therefore, will look seriously at the possibility of paying government public workers every 2 weeks, not every month, as it appears to be at this time. Brothers and sisters, only the NNP can talk about that. You know why? You know what the NDC would say? Well, how they could do that? Because all the paperwork we have to do every 2 weeks. Brothers and sisters, in the age of computer science, it's just a punch in a number on the computer and the information is made available so easily. So for NNP, it will be easy. But for NDC, it's going to become very difficult.
28 years later, it took Dickon and the NDC administration to make good on the promise after only 9 months in office.
Is the enacting of the government's commitment, which was made by us pre the election, that on assuming office we will take steps to ensure that the salaries of public servants are paid on a bi-monthly basis. I'm indeed happy and pleased to announce that will come into effect on the 15th of April 2023.
What a fascinating fold of events. We will sum up this episode with the conclusion that one Mitchell promises and the other Mitchell delivers.
Yes, that's a good way to sum up that particular piece there. One Mitchell promises and one Mitchell delivers. So again, congratulations is well in order to the NDC, the Dickon Mitchell-led administration, and the entire team for making this a reality. I want us to now dive deeper into what the Honorable Delma Thomas had to say. And may I warn you, the NNP will seek to discredit her. So you have to be prepared to defend her. I know how the NNP operates. They are going to that constituency tomorrow to discredit the Honorable Delma Thomas. That's how the NNP functions. The minute time a person comes out and speak the truth, they would seek to demonize them. They would seek to discredit them. They would say all manner of wicked things about that person. So you would hear them saying a lot about her mental state. And look, the Honorable Delma Thomas is normal. I'm telling you, she's healthy and she's a thinking person. She has been sincere. She's a God-fearing woman too. So no matter what they do, they will not succeed. So I want to again applaud her for coming out. And some people will say, why now? In fact, those NNP supporters are saying, well, why now? She just came during the election and she got elected and she told us X, she told us Y. But all that the Honorable Delma Thomas spoke about was actually what happened after the election. But some of these people are not sensible enough to recognize that. All that she spoke about is what happened after the election. And she never spoke about while they were in government and so on. No, she was not speaking about that. She's speaking about after the election. And she has a right to do so because there's a serious rift within that party. And my good partner called a particular program this morning and warned the Honorable Delma Thomas not to go in that meeting that Keith Mitchell and the others will be there in. Because they look, their whole intention is to discredit this woman. And she will be smart enough not to be a part of this. You gave an honest account of what transpired, and you have more viewership than even Keith Mitchell's interview. Keith Mitchell had this interview, and very few people followed it. You are way more popular now than Keith Mitchell because people recognize your sincerity, your honesty, and your love for country. And they love your politics. It is not the tribal politics, the divisive politics as the NNP. No, it is different. So keep doing what you're doing. But they will try to discredit you and prepare for that. But I'm here. I will defend you because I believe you're genuine, you're sincere about Grenada moving forward. That is significant. I want to say, folks, that there are a lot of NNP folks who are hurt. In fact, the big mouth woman called this morning on a morning program and she said, oh God, she hurt. She hurt. But she wants to discredit Delma Thomas. But when Peter moved from NDC to NNP, she did not. She praised Peter. She applauded Peter. Right? When Peter came out and tell all, so to speak, she was there. Excuse me, in the audience. She was there. She was happy to be there to applaud and praise it and praise him. But now she wants to discredit. But look who is trying to discredit Delma Thomas now. The big mouth woman. But this morning she called and she said she hurt the pressure. The pressure is mounting, you know. But I told you the NNP will disintegrate. I told you they're mashing up, they're crumbling. And I told you way before, because I get intel that you don't get. So I can tell you things in advance. I'm not a seer man. But I can predict, I can tell you, based on the information that I normally would get way before you, that there is serious problems within the NNP. And that fighting will continue for a long time. But I want you to put wood under Keith Mitchell's ego. You know, make him believe that what he's doing is cool. And I want you to also encourage him to remain, stay on as the leader of that cursed organization, in my belief. Stay on. You have to encourage him to stay on. He's a big-headed individual. His ego is huge. So I want to encourage you. You don't want him to move. You want him to remain there as leader of the NNP. And the confusion will continue. The melee, the bacchanal, You know, he acts like a fouchette. You know, this bacchanal woman who goes down by the river and wash clothes and cussing everybody by the river. You know, and he acts like a fouchette. That's how they normally say it in days ago, right? Days of old. That's how he operates. So leave him that way. But make him believe that what he's doing is the correct thing. You know, cheer him on. So the folks go to that meeting, whoever going to the meeting, and cheer him on. Say, yes, what you're doing is good. And he loves that. He loves to bask in that kind of glory. Although it's fake. It's a glory that is not, you know, earned. So do that, please, for me. And you know, Kem Jones is a politically astute person, right? When I tell you something, that is exactly what you must do, because it would bear fruits. It will bring forth fruits. Speak to his ego, juke his ego, you know, make him feel good, make him feel happy, make him feel that what he's doing is good. All right, do that for me, please. Those who are close to him, those NNP and so on, do that. Go there in numbers and chime on. Go with your cheerleader clothes if you have to. Remember, during the election, a lot of them had their cheerleader dress and skirt and jersey and whatever. Some of them, they almost 70 and they had their cheerleader skirt and jersey and whatever. And they pom-pom. Go with your pom-pom. Go with your cheerleader clothes and check it on tomorrow at that meeting in St. Andrew Northwest. Do that. Make his ego go off the roof. That is exactly what I want to see. I encourage you to do that. Let's listen to the Honorable Delma Thomas and get your pen and paper so you can write down some key things that she said.
That started to cause some uneasiness. And you started to hear shoo-shooing and what's on the other side. But you know, I did not take that for anything because we had the best relationship. We just lose an election. So I expected that we will mend those wounds. However, and if Scott is here still, he can bear me out whether or not I'm talking the truth or not the truth. However, we have a chat, a private chat, where a young man who's very close with the political leaders started to attack me left, right, and center. And Messi is here tonight. He attacked me saying all kind of negative things, and he went ahead to say that you want more contract for yourself. So he was alluding to the propaganda that Messi contract is mine. And I get really, I can cry for days because I know I had nothing to do with Messi getting a contract. And I know that Dr. Mitchell and another gentleman, I'll call his name, they were the ones that gave Messi the contract. So when that started to happen, I decided that I'm going to call Dr. Mitchell, but I was not getting him on the phone. But before I go to that part, there was the part of senators. After election, there's government senators and there's opposition senators. And we were looking for senators. And one of the businessmen, I'm not calling his name, came home. Some of you know the name because we discussed it, but I'm not going to say it here. And he said to me, Delma, why you want to call Dr. Mitchell and tell him, as a businessman that supports us, has been part of my management team, has been part of assisting the party, and all that. So he said, why you want to call Dr. Mitchell and tell him that Ali Gill could be a good senator because Dabrio said he's not going back, so he can replace Dabrio in Guam and he can be a good person in the parliament. So myself now so naive, forget that Doc is up, that Ali is associated with Peter, and I called Dr. Mitchell with all glory, and I put it on speaker because it's for the man to hear. And you would not want to hear what was said and what happened. And to me, that was the beginning of the end of a very, very good relationship.
Thank you very much there, the Honorable Delma Thomas. But what is key in what she just said is how Keith Mitchell sees some of Peter's allies. Anybody who is close to Peter David it becomes a problem, right? And that is what is emerging. So she's saying, look, she suggested after this businessman who supports her campaign, supports them, suggested Ali Gill, my good partner. We from the same side. In fact, neighboring village, my sperm donor is from his village. And she suggested Ali Gill to be a senator. But he was rejected because Ali is on Peter's side, as always. And I always call him Peter, Peter boy, right? He will toe the line, just Peter. Don't want to go as far as to say he worships him. I don't want to go that far. But I want to say to you that they're real close, they're tight. But the minute time his name comes up, they throw that in the bin, right? But you would find that because, you see, Keith Mitchell is insecure and he's suffering from something that I cannot even describe here. But what she's saying speaks volumes about the thinking of this character and the modus operandi within that party. She also spoke about Messi, that's Richard Thomas, the contract, and how they were accusing her of being involved with this whole thing. And she said, no, she had nothing to do with this. But that is what they would do. Anytime you come out and speak up about this monster of a man, they would come after you. But I'm happy she's holding her ground and she's courageous enough to come out and speak. And that is why I applaud her. It takes a tough person to do that.
I did not see that as anything. However, as I said, when the attack continued in the chat, and I was very stressed and very depressed, I decided that I will go and look for Dr. Mitchell. So his mother had a church service for 100 birthday, and so I showed up in Happy Hill, and I stayed around, and I said to him, I want to talk to you. And I expressed, he said we should come to see him, my husband and I, the Wednesday. And I did go to see him the Wednesday. When I went to see him, he told me that Peter David is the one that is creating all this problem. And so I should confront him. And so I should curse him. And I should deal with him. He also raised some issues that relates to my colleague in the St. Patrick East, Sister Pamela Moses. Very hurting story. For someone who ran for you in election. Her husband made a statement similarly to what some of us would have made, saying that we lose the election because some people voted against him. And the truth is, that's not the only reason. There are a lot of other reasons. But the truth is, Dr. Mitchell has done very good for this country. We cannot say that he has not done. But there's a thing in politics that they call fatigue, where people believe that you did so long, so they want somebody else new. So a lot of people started to say they're not voting. And I know that Desling, when she was going around, she told me that she picked up in Mountain, my village, people who supported me saying that they don't have a problem with me when they're not voting for Dr. Mitchell again. She got it in Dunfermline, she got it in Saab, and she got it in Byland. So I raised that with him. And so these were the issues that started to create all this negative. And I said I showed up at his home, I told him what the issues are, and how it is affecting me or it's affecting my family. Because remember, my son Gillian was very active on the political campaign. And then to see his mother every day crying home because of all the issues, it became very emotional for my entire family. And so I had to go to him and I told him what the issue is. He said, when he told me to attack Peter, I said, well, I cannot attack Peter because I don't hear him saying anything. And so I was expecting then that he would deal, he did say to me that he would deal with the issue when I said I was being attacked by this guy. He said he was going to deal with the issue. However, the issue was never dealt with because I did not attack Peter, and so it continued and continued and continued. But when those whole things started, it was not me. It started with other members, my colleague, other colleagues. Sister Kendra Mathurin's children. I know many of you heard the news say she resigned or she didn't accept the position. That is a lie from the pit of hell. She was given a senator position, she accepted it, she had to go and sign the next day. She received a call that the people in Carriacou doesn't want her. And so they crafted a statement for her. And she agreed because she said, well, if they don't want me, there's no reason why I should be there. However, 1 month later, after all that, she learned that she said, and she said she actually said it in truth, She said that Dr. Mitchell should not take up the leader of the opposition position. He should have given it to Peter because people voted against him. So when he heard that, he removed her as senator. So Kendra's story is my story. Pamela Moses' story is my story. And for Pamela, I can zero on her story because I think she wanted me to talk about her story. She wanted me to use her story as a backup. I didn't get permission from Kendra to call her name. But I said to her that I will call your name. If I'm lying on you as a lawyer, then seek redress in the court. Because when you're speaking truth, you do not need permission to speak truth. You do not need permission to say it as it is. What is really causing the problem? So, Pamela Moses, her husband, it wasn't her, she didn't say anything. Her husband said that she would not run for Dr. Mitchell again because people voted against him. And so, all her bills that was left unpaid. And thank God that his pension was paid and she got pension as a teacher. So she was able to pay campaign bill with her gratuity as a teacher. And so when she paid her bill, she decided, I do not want anything to do with this party based on what happened to me. So we have Kendra's story, we have Pamela's story, and you're not hearing those stories because they're not elected MP. But I'm an elected MP, so I am, as I told them before, I am the sacrificial lamb. I am the one who is being crucified. And you hear all kinds of stories, and I know you heard recently on a radio program, a man was calling for my resignation and saying that I told everybody else knew I was coming in Parliament, except the people on my side. So I want to know if he's calling Kate Lewis, and I want to call their names. Kate Lewis and Peter David were the only two persons I told I could not make it in the Parliament in the morning. Because I was calling, I text the speaker, I sent him an email, I called him, and then I called Kate because she's part of the team, and I said to her that somebody's coming to buy my van, and so I would not be able to come in Parliament. She said, well, no biggie, because she didn't think that will go through all these stages, she will tell them. And so I spoke to her. Peter called for my son about a puppy he has to buy. And I said, I'm not making this call, I prepare all I make all the preparation, but I can't make it. However, you are hearing on radio, because you see they're looking for any means to discredit me. Anything that will make me look bad in the eyes of the public, they will do that. So he called for my resignation, and he asked me to resign. But Andrew Donald did not vote for me. The people of the constituency of the Northwest voted for me. And they are the ones who called for my resignation, not Andrew Donald. Andrew Donald was set up to come after me. And so he came very viciously. Remember, those of you who used to listen to Andre's program, he used to call me sister. He used to say I'm the best minister. We were good friends, he had my number. So if he really had an issue and he wanted to find out what happened, why not call me? He never called me. But he went on the radio and started to malign my name. Do you think it will get worse than that?
Right. Thank you very much there, the Honorable Delma Thomas. And for those who are on Facebook or YouTube and you're commenting, the minute time you comment and I realize that you are commenting, attacking this goodly lady, I will delete your comment. And I don't care who you are. You could be Mr. This, Mr. That. Anybody who comes up against this woman, I will defend her. And I am very, very firm on that. So if you comment anything under this live, I don't care who you are, right? I will delete your comment forthwith because I am capable of doing that right here with a click of a button. And if you go to the extreme, then I'll just block you off. And I don't care who you are, right? That's how I operate. By now, you know me very firmly. I want to see this. What we heard from the Honorable Delma Thomas is very telling. Very, very telling. In other words, it speaks to how petty Keith Mitchell is. But I knew he's a very petty individual. That is why Grace Duncan called him a liquor boy. Because I am convinced that he is a liquor boy. All right? His way of operating, his way of doing things. The here say, the them say, the she say, and somebody come and gossip and tell him this and gossip and tell him that. That is how he has always operated and functioned, even in government, in my belief. the them say and the she say, and who bring this and who bring that, and that's how he has always talked and operated. That's the character, you know. That's Keith Mitchell in print. I'm telling you. Is that she say, a them say, a he say? Yeah, that's Keith Mitchell. I'm not surprised. So Kendra, and I expected that. If you say something and a little info gets back to him, he will hold that against you. So I expected that, right? And the story adds up so nicely because 1 minute we heard Kendra will be the senator and she accepted and so on. And 2 twos we hear she's no longer. That must make one kind of, say to themselves, but wait, something ain't right? Something ain't right. Yes, Summer Rain, I deleted your comment. I did, right? I deleted your comment. I did that. So just letting you know. And once you comment anything here that is on fit for this programming, I will delete it. So glad you're mature enough to accept that. All right? Nice. Thank you very much for understanding that. Good. So again, the Kendra story, then the Pamela story. Somebody bring back a little news and say, well, she husband said so and so, and then all gone. That is how this little boy, Keith Mitchell, has always operated. He's that petty. Don't fool yourself. That's Keith Mitchell in print. And that is how he runs government generally. That is how he has always operated in government, in my belief. Generally speaking, right? Gossip and they say and them say and she say and who them say and all kind of foolishness. But at the end of it all, I'm happy that the Honorable Delma Thomas could come out and tell the truth. And we applaud you. And I will support and defend you. I'm telling you, because it takes a lot. Because I remember, I actually felt the rot of this character, Keith Mitchell, before all of these people. I stood up to Keith Mitchell. I was an executive member of the NNP, youngest executive member. I stood up to this de facto dictator already, and I dealt him a serious blow. That is when they lost the election in 2008. So 2 years or so before that, or a year and some before that, I stood up to this de facto dictator, and I challenged him openly. And then they cook up story on what transpired after, and they put all kind of stuff all over the internet. But they're stupid, and I vow from that day to work extremely hard to get rid of that monster from government and his party. And I was successful in doing that this time around. Unceasingly, I did so. But I had, remember I had a massive meeting in Grand Roy, my hometown. I mean, journalists, BBC Caribbean and all was there. All reporters. And then I remember I actually predicted when the election would be. And then I indicated, well, when he heard the date, he would then either go 1 month before, 1 month after that said date. And so said, so done. So said, so done. So I know about this character. So what Delma is saying, I could relate, I can connect to it because I know what she's saying is true, right? She's sincere. She's talking from the heart. They will try to discredit her, and that is why I will defend her. I will stand here and defend her. And anybody, I don't care who you are. And the minute time I see you post on me, I just delete you or block you off. Who cares? At the end of the day, what she's saying is the truth. And we need to learn from that. Never again should you vote for this creature, this character, this grandpa as they call him now, right? Diablo. Never you again vote for this individual or support him and his party. We have to make sure that they never return into power again. And these things that you're hearing from the Honorable Delma Thomas should be teaching moments, lessons for you. Because you have to learn. She's actually telling you about this character, this creature, this evil individual. She's exposing it. And we have to appreciate that. It takes a lot to get that kind of bravado to come out there and speak like this and expose these things. And a lot of NNP they tongue cut out, they can't talk, they in awe, they shock. A lot of those NNP supporters, but they're angry, they're bitter, but they know it's the truth. And they will come to terms with it over a period of time. So let us support the Honorable Delma Thomas. Let us make sure that she feels supported, because they will come after her viciously. So they will come after her. And I know how the NNP operates. They are that dangerous, in my view. And they don't want to know anything else. They will just go after her with all that they have to discredit her. They will talk about her everything. They would attack her husband too. They would attack her family too. So I am speaking to you out there to say to you, we have to defend her with all that we have. We must defend her. Very important. But we will continue to listen to her again, that next piece, because we have to dive deeper and listen to what she had to say. Very important. Let's listen to the whole money aspect.
And sometimes you have to be honest, and maybe that I don't really show the camera to capture, but let's be honest. After the election, our salary cut by more than half. So we're getting that $1,200. And so our leader said that party will provide us with some assistance. And he was talking about Sister Kate and I. You know, sometimes they say, well, you didn't get permission to call you name. But you don't get any permission to speak truth. When you're talking truth, you don't need no permission. So he said he was going to give us assistance. And the truth is, he started to give the assistance in July, August, and then the elected senators, and we heard it on the news like anybody else. We are elected MPs. So there was supposed to be a discussion. We didn't hear it. We heard it in the news like everybody else. And so we expressed among ourselves, not to strangers, we expressed among ourselves that we're not happy with how things is going. So one of the senior members of the party asked me, I'm going to see him now. Do you think I should call your name? I said, we have no problem because we're not being hypocritical. We just wish things could be better. So she said she was going and she was raising. About an hour after she left, I received a text saying that I cannot provide any more assistance to you and Kate, and you should tell Kate. And he gave a reason, a personal reason that I will say here tonight. And I said, okay. Brothers and sisters, I ran for election in 2008. And I give my story already. We lost the election. I had no income at that time, no income whatsoever. And so he gave some assistance then, and then he stopped. So I experienced that firsthand. There were times when I raised another platform that I could not even pay my bill because my children was little, and only my husband was working. And we have mortgage, we have other things to do. So when that happened, I sit my colleague down and I said to her, listen, this assistance will be short-lived. It's not going to be forever. So do whatever you take. Prepare yourself, do whatever.
Yes, and folks, that is where you get to know who is Keith Mitchell. You see that statement there? The Honorable Delma Thomas made regarding all the payments and so on. Because remember, when you lose the election and you never prepare. Because remember, they don't have all the millions and millions of dollars, right? They have their mortgage. Because I told you, I did a piece on this program before where I told you how Keith Mitchell hooked these people and keep them in servitude, in my belief. When they win a seat, they would go to the bank, they would take a loan, they would, build a house, buy a car, they would. So they're beholden to him to say, well, boy, if I really challenge this man, then once they remove me as a minister, then everything gone with me. How would I pay my loans? How would I meet my commitments? How would I live that kind of standard of, how would I maintain that standard of living? That's how they operate. So they tie them down. You have to take a loan, you have to build a house, you have to buy a car, you have to change your lifestyle. But that costs money. So he keep you in that kind of slavery environment for a very long time. You have to suck up to him until. So what she's explaining there about them getting a little assistance from the party or whoever, when they lost, to pay their little mortgage and keep things going after, they just stop it. Because that's how they operate. They just stop it. Yeah. And they don't care if you sink or you float. But boy, I thank God that we are learning more and more. And when you hear it from people like the Honorable Delma Thomas, who's a Christian, right? She's sincere, she's honest, she's telling the truth. We need to learn from that. Folks, we are out of time. I want to thank the almost 1,000 people who viewed the program again this morning. I want to thank you very much. This program is the most listened to program in Grenada, Carriacou, and PT Martinique, and in the diaspora. People want to know what's going on in Grenada, and they tune into this program. I want to thank you very much. I want to wish you all the best. Those who pledge their financial support to keep the program going, please try to honor that commitment. Try your utmost to honor that commitment. We still have a lot of people who have not yet honored that commitment. Some communicated with me, which is great, and that's a good thing. But if you have not yet honored that commitment, please try to fulfill that. Take good care and have a wonderful, wonderful Monday. Back to school for the kids. Take good care. Bye for now.
The proceeding was a paid program.